People could be saying stuff right now. 5.
Somebody
saying
said
it's
something.
Canada's favorite talk show, TDP, with your hosts Sean, John, and Paul. Yeah!
Yay! Yay! How's it going?
Hi. Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Yeah. What's new with you guys? Did you guys see Mario yet?
No.
Nope. We were gonna do it, but we had bought tickets and everything, and then Bagel got sick, and we had to rush into the vet.
Oh no.
And they didn't do refunds on the tickets.
That's
Wow,
shitty.
really?
Yeah, they were on. As even said, they were online tickets, so I used Scene Points, and they were like, online tickets cannot be refunded. So,
Oh.
That's crazy. Well, actually, maybe it's because you use the points. Because
no, it says it says online purchases. Period.
Oh, that's crazy. That's
Which I think is insane.
Yeah, that sucks.
Because I think there's even like these like unwritten rules at movie theaters where if you like walk out of the theater and say like I'm not enjoying this movie, you can get a refund or at least like a gift card.
That's definitely
money.
That seems wild to me.
Because when we were kids, we would get like movie tickets, and we would walk out and use that money that we got back from the tickets essentially to like buy stuff.
And the bonus there is you got to see half a movie.
Or like 15 minutes. Or yeah, we never wanted to push our luck because at some point we were sure that somebody would be like, "You've seen more than like an hour of this movie. You're not getting anything back."
Sure. Yeah. I don't know. I never worked at a movie theater, so I don't know what the actual unwritten rules are.
Same. Yeah.
But all right. Well, how's the cat doing?
He's a piece of shit. No, he's doing he's doing all right. He got basically the last dose of his medicine today. His eye was swelling up and like goo was coming out of it. So we had to put like ointment in his eye 3 times a day for a week, and he technically just got the last one. So so now he's theoretically fine. He's been running around outside in the snow, no problem, because apparently it's still snowing here for some reason.
Yeah.
Paul, how's your cats doing?
They've been fine. Nothing new on that front at all, so that's good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Happy 420 for those who observe the holiday.
For those who observe it, yes.
Yeah, exactly. This is the Top Down Perspective for 420. I'm Sean Booker.
Paul Fleck.
John Wheeler.
Paul, did you play anything?
I played one of the games you played, and I have very little to say about it, so I'll just tag on with you on that.
Well, start us off.
I played Minecraft Legends. I think it's boring as hell, and I've uninstalled it after an hour.
Boring is the exact phrase I would have used as well.
Wow.
But let's have you run us through it because I have more stuff to talk about.
Sure. It's like the bad parts of Brutal Legends in the Minecraft world or something. Like running around and just controlling a small army of golems that do your bidding for you while you like are saving villagers from piglins or whatever, and you are also attacking their outposts. There's just something so like benign about it. Like everything about it was just like putting me to sleep while I was playing it. There's just nothing fun about it at all to me at all. And then I was trying to think, who is this for? Because Minecraft people like to like chill and build stuff, and like that's kind of not in this. And it's not action filled because it's like a chilled action game. So that's not in this. So there's this weird like Venn diagram of somebody that probably fits right in the middle of like I want a little bit of action, but not too much or something. And also I don't want to mine my own things. I want to set up these weird little creatures to do the mining for me while I run pointlessly across this land. Yeah. I don't know.
So like as you mentioned, chill. It's definitely chill, but I think too chill because it is boring. So it's I want to say I'm about an hour in as well. I just finished like the first like big main quest, where you like take on some like portal, like you defeat a portal or whatever.
Okay.
And then after that, the map kind of opens up and you can kind of choose where you want to go because there's like a bunch of threats happening at once.
Sure.
Did you get to that part, Paul?
I got a little bit after you get like two different types of golems on top of the other stuff. You got like a weird sprinkler
okay.
one and something else or
Yeah.
whatever.
Okay, so I'm like one objective past you, basically.
I stopped playing on the run to the next till I'm guessing the big objective that you did. That's where I stopped. I was like, you know what, I'm just not having fun, and I turned it off.
Yeah, so I think what I'm having a hard time realizing is like, is it just like a really slow buildup, or is it just like, is it like, because it's definitely a bad intro to the game.
That's
Because
what I'm thinking
there's
too.
scenarios where it's like, hey, you got to stop this outpost. It's on the other side of the map. Why don't you run over there? It's going to take you literally 4 minutes of just running across an empty world.
Right. That's the thing.
Why? And you do that like 3 times in a row because for some reason, like these objectives are on like 3 separate parts of the map. You're kind of doing the exact same thing at each objective. It is definitely one of like the worst intros to a game I've seen in a while.
Yeah.
And then yeah, it's not quite an RTS because so you have a hero character, and it is just kind of like controlling mobs of enemies and just throwing them kind of at something
Yeah.
and then waiting.
Yes.
That's it. You're not doing like
Oh, it's Pikmin?
Kind of, but you're swinging your sword. It's more like an overlord or something.
yeah, I'd say Pikmin has a little bit more because you're actually, you're picking up one specific one and using it. This one is just kind of, it's doing like the all units, and then you point them in a direction, and then you just wait until they break down the barrier.
There is a point where you can actually change what units do what, but it's still like melee here, range here sort of thing. It's not like the same as like this type of creature does this thing, or it's not puzzly at all.
Well, they do kind of point out like, the rock golems are good at taking down buildings versus the wood golems are good at like taking down like enemies.
Yeah.
But I find it's kind of hard to like pick them apart. I find that kind of the same thing with a lot of real-time strategy games. Is it's like this is just easier if I just lasso everything around and point it in a direction.
Yeah.
That's what it just works out to be the case for me. So it leads me just being like, all right, I'm just gonna wait, and if I see my like total unit number drop down, I guess I'll run back to the spawn point and get a couple more, and because I don't want this to take longer. And you can run around and swing your sword, but then like I don't know. I wish it was more fun. So that's what I'm wondering. Like, is it just like super easy and chill for kids, or like what is this? I don't know how much more I'm gonna play of it either, because I've kind of done the exact same treadmill like 4 times in a row, and I'm not enjoying it.
Right.
And like it's not an RTS. You're not going to be sitting there and be like, all right, these characters are going to run back and forth between the trees and get me wood so that I can build this structure, so that I can build these stronger ones. No, it's just kind of like make as many golems as you can and point them in a direction and wait.
And that number for the first bit at least is 20.
I know that number goes up.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
For the time being, it is not enough because these fights take too long. I don't know.
Like, is it like 5 hours in that game? It's just sick because you have like an army of 5,000 things that you're controlling. It's like, oh, this is great. Does that happen?
That's what I'm wondering, because like are they going to make it more like you're going to have to use some tactics? You're going to actually have to like build ramps for more than just, well, this structure's higher up than you are. Make one ramp and you're back to the treadmill of, all right, 20 enemies, please, or allies, please go in that direction. I'll sit here and wait for 10 minutes.
Surely there must be a ramp up, no pun intended, like of the enemies that attack you or something.
Yeah, I know you definitely get like different mounts. I was just kind of running through the achievements, so it does seem like there's more to it, but it was just such a unpleasant first hour or two of the game that I just don't want to do more of that.
Yeah, I wasn't a fan.
I'm seeing in the chat people, one person saying it's objectively better than Dungeons. I actually really liked Dungeons.
Yeah, I completely disagree, and objectively is not used correctly there. But that's fine. Like, if you like this more than Dungeons, that's fine.
Are you like Dungeons?
I like Dungeons enough. I mean, if you like this thing better than Dungeons, more power to you. But I don't see that at all. I don't agree at all.
This one also has co-op. I haven't tried that out yet. Which I'm assuming that would help like speed clearing up the map, but I understand you also share the units.
Oh, okay.
So you'd each get like 10 instead of 20. So it would, even though there's two of you working on it, you're both going half as fast. I don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's weird. It's on Game Pass though, so like it's easy to check out if you are interested.
Yeah. Yeah, it's hard to be too mad about like installing this, trying it for an hour, then uninstalling it with literally my life not changing like at all. So it's hard to be too mad about it. I kind of wish it was better because I thought it looked kind of neat.
Yeah, I thought it looked pretty cool too, but I just don't like playing it. And again, coming off of Dungeons and being pretty positive on that, I was excited for like, all right, let's see your next genre take. Nah, not working for me.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
But hey, speaking of games that aren't working for me, so I'm playing the latest Saints Row game that came out last year.
Oh yeah, that's like the fourth best game of last year according to Nathan, I think. It wasn't it? It was kind of high on his list.
It was somewhat high on the list.
I don't remember that. Okay, that does sound familiar now that you mention it. So that game came out, I think, in August, around August of last year, right?
Somewhere around late summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Anyways,
yeah.
so we're nearing the point where it's been out for almost a year.
Okay.
The game is still really buggy.
You're surprised after like Saints Row 3 and 4?
I'm very surprised. I figured they with how much bad press that thing got and hearing that they were working on it, it's still so buggy. You'll just be driving in the car and the car will launch into the air.
Okay, you're selling me on the game by telling me that though.
That sounds pretty funny.
No, hey, if you want to play a buggy game, Saints Row is still very buggy.
Okay.
Which was just kind of surprising. I also think it doesn't look very good. Like I feel like it looks kind of like a remastered 360 game. It kind of just feels bad moving around and shooting. I understand they're working on like a big combat overhaul. And then there's this one unique feature I haven't seen before where you can pull a prank on your co-op partner. So if you complete a certain random mini objective, and each person has like a different one, and they can be as simple as like, get 3 headshots. And you're allowed to hold down, or you're allowed to hold one of the direction pad buttons down, and it'll just do something to your teammate. It doesn't affect gameplay in any way, but these can be things like now their arms are just bugging out as if there was a bug, or now the character just flips right side and upside down for like the next 3 minutes.
Maybe it's not buggy. Maybe you were just playing against some random person or playing with some random person.
No, I've been playing just co-op with my buddy. So that part's kind of interesting. I hadn't seen that one before. But apart from that, though, I'm shocked how buggy it is and how kind of ugly it looks. Yeah, it is definitely better in co-op, like every game. But yeah, I wish I had better things to say about it, and I don't even know, man. How did this come out? How is this still in this state? It's crazy.
Looking at screenshots of it, it actually doesn't look as good as I thought it might. I haven't really paid attention because I don't necessarily care about this, but
well, it came out and it was like so broken that it kind of just like immediately left everyone's mind.
I do remember hearing that.
Looking into that, yeah. So I guess they're still working on it. Good for them. I'm wondering where they go. Where do they go from here with Saints Row? Because if you try to reboot the franchise and then completely fail that, do you have to then go back to the original Saints and be like, they're back, and we're going all back to that stuff, the stuff that you loved that we like did too much of? That's probably the play, right?
But can they even at this point? They wrote themselves into a corner, basically.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean. But it's like, because no one would get excited for Saints Row 2 with like the reboot, right? Because they're gonna be like, but that sucked.
Yeah.
So do you reboot it again? Like, who's
that would
left?
be kind of funny.
That would be actually a little funny.
If the next Saints Row is just called Saints Row again, so there's 3 just Saints Row titled games.
It would somehow fit in my mind with the series. it would be okay if they did it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a weird one. So the car has a side swipe move where if you hit where you hit X, the car will just like lurch to the side, so you can like tackle other cars. Sometimes when you tackle another car, it just goes flying out of existence.
Okay.
Yeah,
That's
it's
pretty
weird.
good.
Anytime you drive over a fire hydrant, the physics on that water is ridiculous, so it launches the car comically high in the air. Um, yeah, it is a buggy game for sure. We were doing this. It was a really scripted mission where you have to like ride on top of the car and you're like shooting at like a big truck full of bad guys, and eventually your NPC like drives you up to the truck and you can like jump on it and get some like closer hand-to-hand combat stuff like that. So we were doing that, and there was characters just T-posing through the track, like just flying through us. Like they somehow spawned ahead of the vehicles as a T-pose and just would fly through us while we were doing this mission. This game's crazy. So anyway, that's Saints Row. Last game I'll talk about briefly is I'm still playing Ghostwire, and I just wanted to give a quick shout out to that because some of those like missions, especially some of the side quests, are like super unique and
Yeah.
creative and just like unlike any of the other side quests.
Yeah.
And because I was doing a bunch of the side quests, and then I was like, I need to kind of get through this. Let me just kind of mainline the story. And then I would do a side quest here and there if it was like kind of on my way to a mission. And I'm just like, man, I really should be doing more of these side quests because this content is like, they put a lot of work into these side quests to make them cool.
Yeah.
And just like with all the ghosts, and they'll like play with geometry and stuff. Like it makes me think of the maze section of Control.
Yes. Yeah. It's too bad that they're not all like that, though. Some of the side quests are, like the yokai stuff, are very good, but a lot of the side quests are kind of just, I don't know, bland also. Like, there's a mixture of them, and that's too bad that they're not all as good as some of those others.
Some of them can be just like, hey, go in this building and like find the book we need. Okay,
Yes.
thank you. Please bring the book back to this person. Those can be boring, but then some of them are super cool. I kind of don't care too much for the combat. It's totally fine and serviceable. I just don't want to do it for as long as they want me to, so I just put the game down to easy.
It's very basic. Yeah.
Well, and I don't know if this was in the game when you played it, because there was some kind of update where they added in more enemies, I found out, and that's in the Xbox version, because the Xbox version is like the most. It has everything that the current PlayStation and PC version have.
Mm-hmm.
Some of these new enemies are absolute motherfuckers. There's this like water snake lady that sucks. She like swims through the ground. And then there's this one called like the Sanguine Dancer.
Yeah, that was
flies
in there.
around.
Yeah.
That was in there. Okay, that one is the absolute worst one I've come across. I hate it every single time. But I did just do this mission where I had to like go through a haunted school where this like mannequin would not stop following me. I hated that. That sucked. That was the worst.
Because it was scary, or
it was scary.
Okay,
I was
yeah.
like, I hate this. I hate like I have to keep looking at it, or otherwise it keeps following me. And it doesn't do anything to me, but it's like I just hate that it keeps following me and showing up there. Not like that, but that was just like it was a side quest. I was like, this is just a really cool little micro quest. This is shout out to Ghostwire.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's all I've been playing. John, you have a few games.
Yeah, Monopoly.
Nice.
Why not? I don't know why,
the worst
man.
board game of all time.
No, that's Risk.
I would happily play Risk over Monopoly. Are you kidding me?
Wow, really? I'm talking classic Risk for reference's sake, not like the sped up ones. I'm talking like original board Risk.
Yeah, I don't think I actually have any. To be fair, I've only played classic Risk like a handful of times. I don't think so. I have no like negative feelings towards Risk. People dislike Risk?
Yeah. Risk takes forever, dude. You think Monopoly takes a
does
long time?
so does
Risk takes
Monopoly.
forever.
I feel like no one knows how long Monopoly takes because they've made their own house rules, or
Mm.
they were taught some house rules that somehow skipped a lot of the like really tedious stuff. Like actual
So they've
Monopoly
made
takes
better
forever
versions
too.
of Monopoly, is what you're saying.
Yes. Well, they have for Risk too. It sounds like. Paul, you're the tiebreaker. Which is the worst game?
Huh? Oh. Um.
Classic Risk or classic Monopoly?
The thing is I've never played Monopoly with friends, only with like family. So that's terrible. Okay. And Risk literally took like a week to play once.
Yeah. Exactly. Well,
Risk would take way longer. Right now, you have to pick one to play. What are you picking?
I have to pick one to play right now?
Yeah.
Monopoly.
Okay.
Because a lot of Risk, I remember like an hour just setting up, like to start playing.
Gotta sort the little horses and the little dudes and the cannons.
Okay.
Digitally, maybe Risk though. Like if we're just talking a digital version,
Risk is better. Both of them are better digitally. Let's be real.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and Risk, here you are playing the digital faster. Monopoly.
Yeah, because they don't have a digital version of Risk anymore. I don't think.
It can't be true. There's no way to play digital Risk.
There's probably ways to play digital Risk, but they're probably old at this point. Like I'm talking like a Switch version of Monopoly.
Oh, okay. Sure, yeah.
Yeah.
There was some kind of Risk in 2015.
Oh wow, really?
Oh right, Risk Global Domination exists, and I know this because I literally played this like a year ago with a bunch of friends.
That's
and it
the
was,
one I was talking about.
And it was okay.
Oh, I thought that was the PS2 one for some reason.
I think they re-released it maybe on PC because it was more recent when I played it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, it came out on PC in 2020, February 19th, 2020. So it was your pandemic game.
That's probably when we played it. Actually, was probably 2020 when everybody was stuck at home. Yeah.
No, it makes sense. But yeah, a streamer I watched wanted to play Monopoly. I joined in on it, and like Monopoly is fun with the right people. So like that's the thing.
Yeah, so was this just basic Monopoly, or was it like a
basic ass Monopoly? They only have. So here's the thing: it's the Ubisoft released a version of the game. It's on like Steam. It's on Switch. But it's got this weird setting where you can only pick one house rule. You can't pick multiple. Although that might be for sanity's sake, because we played with free parking on when I played with my stream buddy, and that took an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours. We played on stream with a snake eyes rule I'd never heard of, where if you roll snake eyes, you get $1,000. And that game took over 4 hours.
Yeah, I bet.
It was bad. It was bad. And I think at least an hour of that was just 2 players. It was literally just like they kept getting so much money from rolling snake eyes, they weren't losing money. It was ridiculous. By the end of the game, they had double the amount that you started with in a 6-player game. Like the 6 players total was like $9,000, and I think there was $18,000 or $19,000 on the board by the end of the game. It was so dumb. I still had fun because it was just so hilariously dumb, but like, yeah, never using that rule again.
Yeah.
What's the free parking rule?
Free parking is, you know how you land on like income tax, or like if you get a chance card, it says you have to pay money, stuff like that. It all goes in the center of the board, and whoever lands on free parking gets all that money.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Is that not standard rules?
No, that is a house rule.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the reason for that is
all the house rules have.
Yeah, house rules are just ways to make the game last longer usually. So.
Oh, okay.
Although there was one cool house rule I saw where it was just like, yeah, you can just build houses if you have the money. You don't need to have the full color set. That must be a quick game.
That seems that is literally just like, let's skip half this game.
Yeah. I mean, that sounds interesting to me. I kind of want to try that out sometime. Okay. But yeah, just played Monopoly. It's all right. It's Monopoly. And if you play it in handheld mode, it gives you touchscreen controls. So
neat.
I've also been playing, and I am doing that right now, Astronite. This is a black and white monochrome Metroidvania like Gato Roboto, with some Souls-like elements. So you die, you drop all the money you have on hand. You got to buy a bunch of upgrades from the shop to kind of make your character better. You only have so many hits. Healing recharges your health, but it also brings back all enemies you've killed, etc., etc.
Right. Yep.
It starts a little harder than I feel like it should to ease you in. Like it doesn't really ease you in at all, but I have been enjoying it off stream. It's been like just a fun, chill little game to just jump around and do some shooting in.
Cool.
Man, your character just feels really weak right out of the gate. It kind of sucks in that aspect, but yeah, it's
This
otherwise the exploration's
developer
neat.
has so many games. I have never heard of a single one of them.
I think this is
I actually,
their only game currently.
The developer Dune Games Studio.
Oh, do they have a bunch of stuff?
It's on
I'm looking
Steam.
here.
Evil
Doom,
Inside,
yeah,
Indie, Indie. How do you pronounce that?
Dungeon Cleaner I've heard of, but that's not out yet.
Hyper Shapes, Super Ola.
Oh wait, that's the publisher, Jandusoft. Doom Games.
Did they maybe send me to the publisher page?
It sent you to the publisher, yeah.
Oh, it looks like it's the same page. Okay,
If you
maybe I'm
clicked on
looking at the
Steam,
publisher.
it almost all for indies. It almost always goes to the publisher because indies usually only have one game behind them.
See, but that's
Steam
not
database
okay,
says
'cause
the only Astronite is the only dev, or is the only game
Okay.
they've made.
And I agree, it isn't right. They shouldn't do that.
like there's two buttons there. I clicked
I
on the
know.
develop. Don't make that clickable if there's not like.
Hey, I'm with you. But yeah, no, they only did this as far as I was able to see.
Valve's over there. Oh, can't hear you. Counting Steam Deck money.
Yeah, exactly.
Came out November 30th of last year on Steam, at least. 80% of the 57 reviews are positive, so not bad. I'm
Yeah.
enjoying my time, but like I said, it does not start easy. It doesn't really ease you in, so I'm curious how this is going to be by the time I get to the end.
Cool. Interesting.
It's also very Souls-like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no stamina at least, so.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's basically all I've been playing, unless you want to count stream stuff, because I did a sponsored segment stream like right before this, so.
If you want to talk about
did you play?
was it interesting?
I played Mr. Hat's Sunbox? No, sorry, Mr. Sun's Hatbox, sorry. That was the title of it.
Okay.
This is a weird, quirky pseudo roguelike platformer / like management game where
But just all the genres.
yeah, it's a mishmash where like you go on these missions and you have to like complete different objectives, like kidnap this character. You have to take out this like group of soldiers. You have to find this certain item and bring it back to your base. You capture enemies and you brainwash them so they become playable characters on your party and stuff like that. But it has the rogue legacy mechanic of like everyone has like all these bad quirks to them, kind of amped up a little too much. Like one of my characters was like nearsighted, which meant the camera was zoomed in. But then he also couldn't jump on enemies, which was the main way you knocked enemies unconscious. And then like all these other mechanics that just like made things a little weird. I feel like it's got a good idea, but it definitely needs a little tweaking on it.
Sure. That reminds me of like Rogue Legacy when you would have like a choice between your dudes and they were all kind of shitty. It's like,
well, the problem is like you literally just kidnap random characters and throw them in your party. So like you can have like 20 characters to choose from, but they'll all have like crap stats.
Yeah,
you
that's
can level
bad.
them up to like get rid of some of them or get better ones. But one of my first level ups I got made my character worse. It literally gave me the ability that if you walked backwards, you walked way faster, but if you walked forwards, you walked way slower. And so to do that, you had to hold like the opposite direction on like the right stick and then move with the left. And that just felt really uncomfortable when you had to fight someone. So they got my character killed because I'm just it's like almost uncomfortably slow moving forward now.
Sure. Yeah.
It's like little things like there's like a bunch of weird decisions. Like some things that you're supposed to get are breakable. One of your quirks that you can literally not be notified about your objective because normally there's a pop up over the character like, oh, kidnap this character or like kill this character, and they just don't highlight it. So you just have to be paying attention enough to be like, oh, that's my guy. I gotta go make sure I don't kill him.
Yeah.
Stuff like that. I'm iffy on it. I feel like with some tweaking, it would be way better.
Sure.
But the idea is neat. But I think it just needs a little more time in the oven. So I'm curious to see how reviews are going to be on that. It came out officially today, but I think it's last I looked, it had 80% positive reviews out of like 20, something like that on Steam. I'll double check now.
I had it open.
Yeah,
I just
85% I have it open right now.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, 85% on 21 reviews. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It also has co-op, but unfortunately it's local only, so couldn't play it
Oh my
online.
god.
Yeah, I know.
What are you doing?
I don't know, man.
But wait, doesn't Steam have like the built-in like
It does.
fake?
It does. Hit or miss if it works right. Yeah. Usually I use
Can
Parsec.
you
Sure.
do that with the Steam Deck? Can that take advantage of that?
I'm sure it could. Yeah.
It must be able to, right?
Just never tried, so I don't know.
Yeah, never tried either.
Okay,
Yeah,
very
unless you want
cool.
me to dig into other sponsor stuff, that's all I played.
It's up whatever you if you want to talk about it, man.
You played Dino Punk?
No.
No, is
Okay.
that the game? Dino Punk?
Yeah,
I'm gonna look
Dino
this up.
Punk.
All
This
right.
is another game. Came out or it's not out yet. It's not out till next month. But they have a free prologue out now. It's an adventure. How do I even describe this? It's like a weird mishmash. It's kind of if you played like Coffee Talk or Valhalla, it'll remind you of that in some aspects. You basically work at a tech repair shop in a cyberpunk future where everyone is a dinosaur, and you fix tech for people, and they come in and you try to like you can change their moods, like put them in a better disposition or piss them off more. You're trying to save up money to build a time machine to get a girlfriend. But like there's all these like weird
What?
dystopian things that just kind of jump in the story. Yeah, no, the whole thing is weird, but it's like funny weird. I had a
So
good time
is
with it.
it like, you say Coffee Talk and Valhalla, which is ringing bells for me. Those games are like 90% visual novels.
It's a very text heavy game. Yeah.
Okay.
I wouldn't say
Oh,
like so
no,
there's a
good
mini
to know.
game and there's a mini game for actually doing like the repairs for stuff. I wouldn't say what I got to in the demo was really that hard. So
Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense.
So like
Oh,
I
that's
don't know.
cool. Like,
It was neat. It was neat,
yeah.
and the writing is like really funny. It's like very uplifting and charming. But then like they'll randomly like here's this dystopian thing that's going on that I need to deal with. Here's this story beat that just literally comes out of nowhere. The pacing's a little all over the board, and I don't know if that's because of the demo or if that's actually just how the game is going to be. So
Yeah. Well, I mean, Coffee Talk and Valhalla, those would have some like serious topics as well in between you like brewing,
yeah,
drinks or whatever. So that's I would almost expect that if they are trying to kind of riff on that
yeah.
specific style.
So if you like those kind
Cool.
of games, you'll probably feel similar energy from this one.
Coffee Talk 2 just came out. That's
Oh, that's
my
true. I'm
current
surprised you didn't
well, I
talk about
played
it
it
better.
yesterday and I basically played less than cuz I played the demo back at PAX West. So I
Ah,
played,
okay.
20 minutes of it. Um when I play more of it, I will talk about it, but right now it's just more Coffee Talk and
Yeah.
and that's great cuz now my go to bed game is awesome.
Yeah.
Nice. Also played the Mega Man Battle Network collection. That is the Mega Man Battle Network games in a collection. That's it.
Oh man.
Yeah. That's all the sponsor stuff I've done the last week. There's been a lot of sponsored stuff lately.
Nice.
Yeah. And I got one next week too, so
Quick housekeeping for news. The May TDP Plus poll is live. And as a reminder, the ones that we missed from last month, those games are also in the poll. So it's a really big poll. If you like big polls, we got one for you.
wait,
And
we
you
missed
can,
some last month? What happened there?
because I was in Boston, there was a miscommunication between Paul and I. So he put it up
Ah,
early before.
that's why the list seems so small. Okay, now it makes sense.
Yeah. So last month was small poll. This month, big poll. So go vote on go enjoy our big poll.
Please and thank you.
Now for some news. Not a ton's going on. Here's a couple stories though. The Super Mario Bros. Movie is the biggest video game adaptation ever.
Of course. It's Mario.
Shocking absolutely no one.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it makes sense. I mean, if anyone was going to do it, it would be Mario, right? Like
Mhm.
this is the one. So as of pretty much 6 days ago, it had crossed 500 million globally. Everyone's easily expecting it to cross 1 billion any day now. Yeah, I'm really not surprised. Of course, there's going to be a Mario 2. There's no way they would not make a Mario 2.
Sure.
At Barry for Wario, I will die on this hill. Moving on, Dreams. You guys remember Dreams?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The concept for
Yep.
the game.
Mhm.
Yep.
Dreams is shutting down.
Yes, that's true.
Specifically, the live support of it is shutting down I believe in about 4 months. Their Media Molecule is moving on. Um, they're doing a few things. You're still going to be able to like purchase dreams, and you will be able to like make new ones. However, they're going to be capping the like size of the dreams you can be making to 5 GB. So if you have a dream in your head right
Stop
now,
dreaming too large.
yeah,
Shrink your dreams down a little bit.
you have about 4 months to get that dream out into dreams. Um, I think the real kind of depressing part about this game was trapped on the PS4.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They didn't port it to the PS5. They didn't do anything with it for like PSVR 2. And then the big misstep was not letting it be on PC.
Yeah. Just let people go crazy with it or whatever.
Yeah, cuz like people were going crazy with this game. Like some of the videos I was seeing around the time it had launched were crazy. People were making very cool stuff in Dreams.
Yeah.
But that would have been like, 100-fold if the PC community could have gotten their hands on it.
Absolutely. Yep. It's too bad.
So September is when this is all going to happen. Media Molecule has said that they're moving on to a new project. It is not Dreams 2. It is not part of the Dreams IP.
Okay.
That's all they've said about it. Yeah, just kind of a bummer, especially with how long Dreams was in development. Like we
Yeah.
had trailers about that for years and years. And clearly, like it did not make much of a splash. I didn't know. I knew like one person who played Dreams, I think, total. Anyways, September is when the changes are going into effect.
Too bad.
And speaking of words that start with S, Sega is buying the Angry Birds developers Rovio for $775 million.
So I don't quite get this because I've heard like the last few Angry Birds games haven't really been well received. So is there still value in the IP? Like I know like the movie apparently did decent.
Yeah, I mean, so I don't have numbers for you, but I can tell you Angry Birds still makes a lot of money, and there's a lot of things with the Angry Birds logo on them that aren't just games that also make a lot of money, like toys and isn't there like cartoons as well?
I didn't think there were any more new cartoons is the thing. Like I remember the movie did good in China, I think at the very least.
Didn't they have 2 movies? Are there 2
Yes.
Angry Birds movies? Yeah,
I
I'm
believe
I'm
so.
sure standard Angry Birds just still brings in wads of cash. There was that news story a couple months back where I don't remember if John was here. Paul, I don't know if you remember it, where they had to like take down Angry Birds because
It
it
was
was like
making
cannibalizing the more microtransaction heavy versions of Angry Birds.
Rovio Classics Angry Birds or something. Yeah.
Yeah, they had to like
Yeah.
change the name and a whole bunch of stuff like
Yeah, because you could just buy it and then play it forever without having to pay them every time you opened it.
yeah, so they didn't want that. I don't know. So like how long until the Sonic version of Angry Birds comes out?
Hopefully tomorrow. Hopefully they're
Yeah.
already on it.
Yeah, they've already made it like years ago. This was the last step in that game coming out.
We need the rights. Let's just buy the company. It's way easier this way.
Yeah. This seems weird to me. Like, I don't know. There's something about it that just makes me uneasy for some reason. We'll see.
And then I do kind of side with John. It does feel like Angry Birds kind of had its moment.
Yeah.
I don't see people still playing Angry Birds on their phones when I'm on like the train or something like that, like I used to.
Sure. Yeah.
But I'm sure there is like a dedicated group of people. The whales, are still probably playing it because it does what they need it to do.
Sure. Yeah.
Anyway, so Sega owns that now. Good for them. Let's do some questions. If you want to send a question in, topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box.
Yeah.
And you could sound just like Jedi Master Hand.
Ooh.
Oh. Is Wispy one wood or multiple woods?
Wispy's a tree.
It's Wispy's Woods. This is his house. That's where he lives.
I thought it was. is it possessive? Wispy's Woods? I thought it was Wispy Woods.
It is Wispy Woods. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So I
Oh,
would
that's just a
imply
shorthand. Is just wispy. Okay.
Wispy is a tree, so it is one wood. Or multiple woods, depending
Wispy's-
on how you look at it, I guess.
Well, considering he's a
Well, that's the
recurring
question.
boss, I agree. He's reoccurring, so he just keeps growing back. So that's why the plural comes back.
Yeah.
I want to say he is the one tree. So when Kirby fights it, and when Wispy shows up in a new game, is that the same tree?
I think
did
sometimes
that-
it's the same tree, but then there's like a bunch of his cousins show up. Like was it Forgotten Land? The purple tree shows up.
Sure, yeah.
I don't know. Is it like a Groot scenario where if one part of it survives, it can grow back?
I mean, that's just how trees work.
It's true.
It is how trees work. You're right.
Weird.
Wow, nature's amazing.
Sure.
And so is Wispy
Yeah.
and his wood.
Yeah, we're very pro Wispy
God.
here. Matthew writes,
Pro wood.
we're very pro wood too. Matthew writes, I once took a class about cybersecurity issues. During the section on phishing, the professor gave us an assignment to send him a convincing phishing email. We were to do research on him, making a convincing email that looks like something he'd like, and write a report about what we did, what we chose, what we did, etc. I decided to pretend to be from Advil, offering him a delivery service for over-the-counter medicines. I stole code from Advil's website to make my email. I then admitted in my report that my submission would be in the form of academic dishonesty because I committed plagiarism, copyright infringement, and trademark infringement, but he should let that slide because the assignment was to do a crime. I got an A+. What is the most audacious thing you're willing to admit doing as part of a school assignment?
That's a great story.
That's very good.
Very good. I don't think I'll have anything near that good.
Yeah, I don't... graffiti. That's it.
As an assignment?
Yeah. Our college is a wild
Okay.
time, man.
Okay, sure. I could see that. We got to do like a mural in high school. That's kind of similar.
Sure.
We had one of my last courses in university. We had to like create a marketing website, so we literally made a fake shirt printing company
Okay.
with like a logo and fake shirt designs and everything.
Okay.
I can't think of anything that was really, really bad. I guess the only other thing I can think of was like one of my classes I had to like program and figure out a way to like show how you process the reflection in a soap bubble, but my hard drive kind of crashed while I was working on it. So instead of having to like restart it all from scratch, my professor was just like, "Yeah, just give me an oral report on everything." So
Okay.
I got to skip major programming aspect of it because
Okay, I have a good one now that I remembered.
Okay.
So my degree was new media, which is anything kind of like art related through a computer. So
Yeah.
video recording, editing video, audio, stuff like that. And I took as like an extra, I was taking a bunch of art classes just because that's my shit. I was taking an art class that was basically for people that might be interested in like new media stuff.
Sure. Yeah.
So it was teaching them like Photoshop. It was teaching them like all the basic stuff that I learned when I was like in grade 9.
Yeah.
So I was very good at that class. Especially my degree was basically what that class was introducing these art students to. Anyways, final assignment of that class. I could tell that the teacher I had, and if anyone's had an art teacher, they know this teacher, where they're just like so up their own ass
Yeah.
about like the meaning of art and blah blah blah, and you know.
Uh-huh.
So I kind of picked up on that through the semester. So I was like, all right, let's see how far I can push this. I made a video of where I filmed my lamp,
Yeah.
and my hand comes in and turns the lamp on and off.
Yeah, I actually know what you're about to say because I think we all did this if we went to art school where we just did a dumb thing and then like just kind of pooped out a reason to get the grade. Like the actual assignment was the bullshit you spewed, not the actual thing. Yeah.
Yeah. So the video was just me turning a lamp on and off, as well as like a light switch, me flipping it light shift. And then in Premiere, I just chopped it up and just swapped around, just made a mess with the visuals. And so I presented that.
Yeah.
And it was funny. We were in class, and it goes up on the projector, and they present it. And then one of my like other students was like, raise his hand, because it's just like, okay, what do you guys think of his video? So one of these guys raised his hand, and he goes, I think there's some kind of like correlation between like the light switch and the lamp.
Yep.
So they turn to me to respond, and I just say, it's open to interpretation. And I did great on my final assignment.
Oh man, I fucking hate art school people. It's the worst. Yeah, that's awesome. I love it.
Hebrew Lantern writes in and says, have you ever been on a jury?
No.
I was asked to be on one, and then the case did not need the jury anymore.
Cool.
Here, like, that's usually what happens, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I have also not. I also don't think I can in my current situation, being down here and stuff.
Yeah.
VGC Kenny writes, Nintendo has announced a Mario Kart 9. But what if that's not entirely true? What if instead of releasing it as Mario Kart 9, they release the project known as Mario Kart 9 as Nintendo Kart and include a wide plethora of Nintendo characters, not just mostly Mario with some exceptions? Would it work? Does it need to be Kart to succeed, or will people be on board anyway?
I think you can live without the name,
Kart.
but some people will do. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Mario Kart without the name, essentially.
Okay, I get it now.
Well, like Smash Bros, but Kart, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it presumably would also not be called Mario Kart. It would be like Nintendo Kart or something like that.
Nintendo Kart or Super Smash Kart, something, you know what I mean?
Yeah. I think it'll work as long as it's obvious it's clearly a Mario Kart-like game by Nintendo.
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
but
like
I think it will be missing on some sales if they don't use the name Mario Kart.
Sure.
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, but because that's the thing, is like, even if they market it well and they show like Link is racing against Samus and Mario, it probably still would not outsell a Mario Kart 9.
Would the Smash logo with Super Smash Kart outsell a Mario Kart though?
I don't think the Smash logo actually does that much. You mean like the ball with the like lines through it?
Yeah, just to get that stupid trailer hype that it gets for everything.
I don't think. Maybe if you called it like Super Smash Kart, maybe
that's what I'm saying. If it's called Super Smash Kart, does that outsell a Mario Kart 9? Probably, right?
I still don't think so. No.
You don't think so?
I guess here's the question: what sells more usually, the Mario Kart on that generation or the Smash Bros on that generation?
Oh, good point.
And I feel like it's always like Mario Kart is always like in the top like 3.
Surely there's numbers that could like give an answer to this.
What, from Mario Kart versus Smash? Mario Kart's always the best selling. That's always the case. Always the case.
Yeah.
Here, I'll even look up best-selling Switch games just to tell you.
Well, because Smash Bros. Ultimate's at 30.44. This is in millions, and Mario Kart is 52. So like it's double, basically, almost.
Yeah, but still, that's number 3 versus number 1. Yeah, and Animal Crossing's in the middle. So.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess Mario Kart just is like a wider range of players versus fighting game.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it would succeed either way, but yeah, you probably just want to stick with Mario Kart name. I agree. Phantom Aegis.
I would play it.
What's that?
I would play it.
Oh yeah, yeah, for sure. Phantom Aegis writes, ahoy TDP crew, what's more subjective, comedy or romance?
Ooh.
That's actually really, yeah. My immediate reaction was comedy, but I don't know anymore, so let me think for a second.
Okay, here's where my brain's going.
Uh-huh.
If we boil it down to what is the most simple expression of both of these, would it
Yeah.
would it be two people kissing versus a whoopee cushion?
Sure.
Is that how you two would distill the most simple form of comedy and romance?
Yeah, probably. A whoopee cushion is yeah.
A fart joke does seem like what you would probably like. This is the most basic joke I could think of.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay,
Or like a
and then
knock knock joke or something.
so which one do you think reads more to more people? Do you think more people would look at two people kissing and being like, that's romantic, versus more people will look at someone sitting on a whoopee cushion and saying that's funny?
Like, I definitely still think comedy might be the more subjective thing, but I'm trying to like decide why that is in against romance.
I think it's romance.
Okay.
I think comedy is so unique to each person of what they find funny. And that is the case too with romance, but I just feel like there's a more general acceptance of what someone would read as romantic.
You and I agree then. So I'm saying comedy is the more subjective of the two.
Yeah, I would agree as well.
Okay, so we're all in agreement. Okay.
Yeah, romance definitely has complications to it, but like
it does.
There's also like there's less branching off than there is per comedy. It feels like.
Well, and I think there's also more of an acceptance. You could be like, "Hey, I'm not into that, but I could see someone being into it." Versus some people are just like, "I don't find, X style of humor funny. Like, it's just not going to make me laugh."
Sure. Yeah. That's an interesting question, though. That makes me kind of want to think harder about it, like in my own time a little bit. But yeah, that's cool. That's a cool question.
Rasterman7 says, "What's the best season? Justify your answer, interpreting the question however you see it."
Fall.
Fall. I interpret it as favorite, and it's just a cool temperature. Everything looks vibrant and colorful, even though it's getting colder. But it's not too cold that it's like winter, which sucks, and it's not too hot, which is summer, which sucks. It's like a nice in between.
I was gonna say, I saw in the chat someone put winter, but I'm in Texas. I was like, the only person who puts winter has not lived in a real winter.
True. Yeah.
Summer. I am definitely summer. Hotter the better for me. I love it. I get to go outside. I don't have to worry about it being too cold. I can wear shorts. Yeah, summer. You don't have to go to school. In fact, fall is when you go back to school. So it might be the worst one.
Nah, school wasn't that bad.
Compared to summer vacation, though?
I mean, I didn't really do anything on summers usually, so. But yeah, no, summers were better for that reason. Not having to wake up was pretty good.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I'm going to play games all day. Don't have to worry about homework.
True. That has nothing to do with like sun and stuff, just the time. But yes.
Winter, at least, that has like winter break. Spring has spring break. Fall's the worst one.
No, fall's the best one. It's best weather.
Yep, I'm team fall. Absolutely.
Suka writes, Jedi Survivor is 147 gigabytes on PS5. Is there a point where games can be too big? And should there be a priority for game companies to compress the data so people can actually download the damn thing?
See, they should be doing that, because that is like, what? Like a fourth of the data you have available on your PS5 by default?
Little less. I think you have 800 and something, right?
Is it 825? I thought it was 625 for some reason.
No, because I think it was, they said a terabyte, but then like the operating system like lowered it to like 800. I think that's the case. It could be, but either way.
The PS5 officially has 825 gigs of internal storage, but it only has 667.2 gigs free for games, as system files take up the remaining 157.8. So
okay.
yeah, it's basically just under a quarter of the system.
Yep. Also, if you have an a cap on your internet of some sort, that sucks. That's a big chunk of it probably in one thing.
Yeah, I think that's the worst scenario because if you have like if your internet's not capped, you could just re-download it. It's not a big deal.
If you have internet where you can download something like that decently also, which is a big problem for some people.
I don't know. Part of me wants to say like, of course, making them so big sucks because then you can't put more on there. Like that's just a bummer. The other part of me is like, I don't want to jeopardize like now the visuals are going to look worse because you wanted the games to be smaller.
Yeah. You could buy like a disc, and that disc could act as a big chunk of that. Like, I guess that's kind of the only thing that we've been doing essentially is buying that disc and then downloading a 15 gig patch instead.
Yep.
That's becoming less and less relevant. There's consoles out there without disk drives now, so eventually that'll be impossible.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know, like, and also like, who's gonna like enforce the companies? It would be the platform makers, but then the companies turn around and be like, why don't you just put more storage in your console? Like, this kind of goes both ways.
Yeah.
There's definitely like a symbiotic relationship here.
Yeah.
I don't
How
know.
big is
I
the most
personally have
recent
not
is
run it.
Warzone? Call of Duty? Do we remember?
Well, those are weird because they split them up now because they got so big that it's like if you want multiplayer, you install a certain amount of gigs. If you want Warzone, you install a certain amount of gigs. And if you want single player, you install a certain amount. But they were upwards of like, I want to say 180 gigs or something like that. It was high. It was very high.
Yeah, and
Black
like,
Ops Cold War at some point was 219 gigs on PS5, according to this picture.
Okay, sure.
and as more games are trying to be like live service games, the expectation is you keep them installed because you're gonna come back to them every few weeks.
Yeah.
So like if you have a running game where you're like, this is the one my friends and I play, it's like, well, my PS5 started with 600, but I only consider about 400 of that usable because I have reserved X for, like Fortnite or whatever your live service game of choice is.
I mean, for me, it's really the internet situation, knowing that some people don't have good access to internet or whatever. Because, and like, maybe this is just because PCs are different. Like, I've never worried about a game being like even 500 gigs or something if it needed to be because I have that space because I can buy more hard drives. Like, consoles should just get to the point where you can continuously plug in more hard drives if you want without any proprietary stuff, and that part's fine. It's the internet part for a lot of people that really sucks, not being able to download something easily or maybe at all, depending on their situation.
This is a feather in the hat for Microsoft because with their cloud streaming, then if the cloud streaming can run well, which I can only speak on my case, it runs pretty great.
Sure.
I don't have to worry about downloads at all, so that's pretty nice.
Yeah, I wonder if the person that worries about downloads though can stream it through the cloud. Like maybe because it's a different sort of thing. Might not be as bad.
Well, it would use a lot less than the full download.
Yeah.
Depending on how long you're playing for.
Yeah. There's no easy answer to this, honestly. I would say no. Games. It's not necessarily that games can ever get too big, but it's the limitations that person has on receiving that, like anything else, really. That's too bad.
Yeah, I think I would look more at the like. There will be a point where if the hardware manufacturers are not increasing their like minimum storage size,
Yeah.
then that's a knock against them. Yeah, Yeah, like the fact that like Sony came in, launched the PS5 with only 600 gigs, which is like less than like the PS4's kind of ended up at,
Yeah.
seems like a step back. I look at that with like the iPhone as well. It took like a while for Apple to like up their like baseline storage size. So if you were trying to save money at any point, you were like stuck having to also subscribe to their cloud storage because the minimum was so low.
Yeah.
I think at this point, like next console, whatever it's probably like a half step console, or whatever the next hardware that kind of comes out, it's like you need like 2 terabytes minimum.
Yeah. I mean, I think so. Yeah. I'm not against the idea of having a cheapo version that's like a few, like 500 gigs with no disk drive or whatever, if somebody wanted that. But yeah, I definitely think a baseline version should have like a terabyte or something at least.
That's what I was about to say. Unless you're like specifically trying to make like what is the cheapest, and that's the Series S, is that
Yeah.
exact scenario.
Yeah.
But like in terms of like this is our competitive one, I feel like minimum now going forward needs to be like 2 terabytes.
Yeah. It is also a weird situation with the PS5 where their SSDs are kind of like tailored, like they're kind of specialized as well. So I'm sure that was another reason why they couldn't just put a giant one in with what they wanted to do from the get-go. But now they should be able to do a new generation of them or something with more.
Well, the PS5 ones, you've been able to put in third-party SSDs for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And tons of people just swapped theirs out.
Yeah.
Then the Xbox, you need the proprietary stuff.
I think proprietary for space is bullshit. We're in 2023.
Yeah.
Come the fuck on. That's bullshit.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
But hey, Sony's not safe there either. Look at the Vita. That was ridiculous. And those prices were insane.
Yep. For sure. Yeah.
All right, that's going to do it for questions. Thanks everyone for writing in. If you want to send a question in for next week, it's topdownperspective@gmail.com, at TDP Podcast on Twitter, the Discord channel, or John's P.O. Box. What is your game of the week?
Astronite.
I guess I don't have. I'm not giving it to Minecraft, so I guess I don't have one.
You have to give it to a game that you played this week.
Okay, let me think for 2 seconds about it. Let me find if I played anything else.
I'm going to give it to Ghostwire Tokyo again. And Paul's favorite game that he played this week is...
Oh, Pizza Tower. Yeah, because I wrapped that up.
There you go.
For our talk next week.
Cool. Yes, stay tuned for next week when we talk about Pizza Tower after the show. Until then, we'll see you guys later.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.